Hi ladies and gentlemen, Morino Ray from Work here again. The video that I'm going to do today is on a project that I've been working on for the past 2.5 months or past 3 months. I wanted to accomplish a goal, sadly, which has not come to fruition. But in any case, now I know the reason for that. Okay, it's basically a flashback or a throwback to why I had difficulty summoning spirits to begin with back in the day. The entity that I work with is Belphegor. You can read the article in the description below. Okay, the link to the article is in the description below. Read the article, please. I strongly advise all of you to do so. All of you that are seriously interested in this topic. And there is a link in the article to my initial article on Belphegor. For those of you that don't know who Belphegor is. In any case, long story short, Belphegor is an entity, a pagan god. He stems from Christian times, okay, and he was basically demonized by Christians, and they gave him the label of demon that deals with excrement and so on, and also with, I think, sloth, demon of laziness. I'm not sure on that, but I think so. In any case, from a Kabbalistic perspective, Belphegor is the ruler of the Girion, specifically the Sitra Ara. Sitra Ara in Hebrew means the other side. The tree of death. Okay, the tree of death, generally speaking, is ruled by infernal entities, but not all of these entities are really infernal. Okay, they have a pagan background, and a good deal of them are also demonized. Adramalech is an example. Baal is an example. And they all rule anti-spheres, okay? Let's just say spheres opposing holiness. Belphegor rules the sphere that opposes the sun, which is the black sun. And that black sun is called Pagirion. Again, you can read all about who Belphegor is if you really want to know in my first article that I did on him. But right now I'm going to discuss how the project went and so on. First off, I simply wanted to learn how to manifest things physically, and by manifesting things physically, I mean creating things out of thin air. We're talking about if I wanted a pencil to appear out of nowhere, I simply wanted to be able to will a pencil into existence. And yeah, I know based on what I'm saying, you can tell that it's quite a goal to accomplish. Okay, I don't think it's anything that anybody else has ever done before, but I simply went for it. I really wanted to do so, and I had difficulty finding an entity that would help me get there. And Belphegor just appeared while I was with the thought, and he offered his services to me, and he told me I can help you with that. And I know that Belphegor is a lunar spirit, by the way. Belphegor is also a powerful one. He's not one to mess around with. Despite the fact that he has pagan origins, he's still strong, really strong. And he specializes in a variety of things, okay, but generally speaking, lunar things, and clairvoyance is one of them, okay, especially lunar endeavors, or all things associated with the moon, and specifically the zodiac sign it rules over, Cancer. And Belphegor told me that, yeah, I can help you with that, and so we got to working, and that's what I've been doing in the past 2 months. For the past 2 months, we're nearing the end of July right now. I've been working with Belphegor for May and June. Yeah, roughly stated. And I've been working with Belphegor for May and June. And I should just compose this altar and everything. Again, you can look at that up in the article that is linked in the description below. His altar, what it looked like. Unfortunately, I didn't have too much in the way of resources to spend on Belphegor due to a personal situation regarding issues that I had with my financial manager. Most of you that follow me know that, but it doesn't matter, okay? So I simply substituted, he told me that it's okay, you don't have to make extravagantly expensive gifts to me, just do what you can and offer me what you can. So I basically substituted expensive gifts that I was planning on getting him by simply offering things like plants, vegetation, and all of that. Let's just say blossoms and flowers and all of that, aside from food and drink and so on. And that was not a problem because Belphegor is not really caught up on that. Okay, Belphegor is not greedy, to put it that way. So it wasn't about how expensive my offerings were. It was simply about my intent and the merit of my offerings. And bottom line is that I didn't need to make expensive offerings to him in order to succeed. And yeah, and he told me that it will simply be as you envision it. Okay, it's simply going to be mental, astral, physical. Okay, the same way that everything in the universe works. Okay, something is created first on a mental plane or on the mental dimension, then it heads on over to the astral, kind of like a going through a filter. Okay, going through a funnel, like a funnel-like system. That's people that are familiar with the Kabbalah know this. Okay, and how the universe works. That things come from high up above, from God initially, and then goes downwards up until the point where it reaches the moon, the Kabbalistic sphere of the moon, Yesod, and then it comes on over into the physical plane. That's how all things exist. Out of the immaterial, the material has existed. People that are familiar also with the spiritual composition of man, the video and the article that I did, know how it all works, that we vibrate on 3 different frequencies, mental, astral, and physical. Mental body, your soul, which is your mental body or soul, astral body, and physical body. Okay. In any case, regarding Belphegor, and Belphegor told me that I'll be able to manifest things, and the way that it works is simply that I'll simply will things I'll be able to will things into existence. So I'll think about them first, okay, mentally, and then create them astrally, and last but not least have that astral counterpart heave on over into the physical. And in the 2 months, and he just told me you don't have to do anything. I'll notify you when you're ready and when we're done. It's going to take 2 months approximately. And in those 2 months, I noticed a bunch of changes. For one, I felt a bit more angry and hateful, and just basic neurosis and rage hit me in waves. This is the case generally for my workings, but I also started feeling very hot. I'm feeling hot as we speak. And I also started seeing energy. I started seeing a lot more energy, astral energy. Basically, kind of like colored balls of light floating around me. And that was due to Belphegor, of course. He was basically influencing me, or basically rearranging me, if you will, astrally, or bestowing the skill upon me. And after 2 months, he told me, we're ready, now you can start practicing. And my confirmations indicated that it was going to be kind of like a learning curve or a growth curve. I would have to practice in order to master the ability, which makes sense, which is only logical, of course. So I got to it. I did that. I basically tried 2 things, okay? The first thing that I tried as a practice method, or a practice tool, is I tried to envision $300 in my PayPal account, $300 American dollars. I envisioned that, and again, that didn't go out, that didn't work as planned. I was able to create, and what I noticed too, ridiculously easy, thanks to him, I was able to create an astral version of what I wanted. Okay, so I was able to astrally envision me having $300 in my PayPal account, just as an example. I couldn't think of any other example, so I thought, let me just use that as practice material. And I was able to do so with ease, ridiculously. Okay, it started right away, or I was able to do so immediately at the first try. Everything around me becomes dark. It's almost like scrying, but instead of scrying, you're willing something into existence, and energy started zooming around everything, and boom. Okay, the astral form was created. The only difference is that it didn't manifest physically. So I tried 4 or 5 times. I practiced 4 or 5 days. Not 4 or 5 days, a couple of days. Let's just say twice a day. Because it also takes a tremendous toll on you, okay? The energy that I'm investing in it is just... I also have a short attention span. So only after 5 minutes will my mind start to drift off, and will it jump to anger and neurosis because of the sheer level of mental toll that it's taking on me, or the astral toll, better said. And then I tried another exercise. I thought to myself, let me really dumb it down, let me really do things as simple as possible. And I said to myself, I'm going to simply try to create a tiny blue little spark, a tiny blue orb, a tiny one, just a tiny one, a blue spark, only the size of a pea, physically. And that also went well, amazingly well. That was the best test run that I had. Okay, I really tried everything. and that was great. Okay, at the first try, I immediately was able to create such a blue spark, and not only that, that little blue spark came to life and had a will of its own all of a sudden and started talking. I'm not kidding. And then immediately it dawned on me after that practice session that I created a mini egregore. Not a mini egregore, I created an egregore with its own will and own thoughts and ideas. And even he told me things, because Belphegor was with me. He told me, I'll stand by your side and assist you, so that you can go ahead and do your thing. And he told me this session went better than planned, because you created an egregore without even trying. And I told him, yeah, it's true. I created an egregore literally without even trying, without even the minimalist of effort. Only 1 or 2 minutes, and boom, I created an egregore. And the last session, which was the day before yesterday, I didn't do anything yesterday, it was Friday. I tried in the evening. That was the last session at the time that I practiced, and I told that egregore, that egregore just did basically what it wanted. I'm gonna call her a she, because she had a she female voice. A thing had a mind of its own, and it just moved on its own and everything. Okay, I mean, I had to really strain myself astrally to control it, but it did everything. It started calling me master and all of that. And all of a sudden it expanded to just a disc. Instead of a tiny ball, all of a sudden it just went like this, poop. And I had like a disc-shaped orb in front of me with a diameter of, let's just say, up to here, maybe roughly estimated to 7 centimeters. 6 to 7 centimeters maybe, roughly estimated. And I told them, I told her, I want you to manifest me physically, appear in the physical world. And she was just like, I'm trying, master, I'm trying so hard, but it's not working. And I really tried all. I just gave it my all, and I just went nuts on it, okay? And it started emanating heavy blue light, that egregore, and it just wouldn't work. And she apologized to me, told me, I'm sorry, master, but I just can't do it. And I was like, it's okay. And that's the last time that I tried, okay? Yesterday, I just wasn't up to it. I literally just didn't feel like it, and a feeling of reluctance crept in. I was unwilling to practice anymore, and today, I was planning on practicing, but I decided to close it off. Not just willy-nilly, not just out of nowhere. I decided to close things off because something dawned on me. I came to the conclusion, okay? My intuition also told me that, no, this is not going to work, and this is why. And now here it comes, okay? I remember back in the day when I first started summoning, okay, that I had difficulty with evocations. I really had difficulty. We're talking about, I couldn't evoke, okay? I already did another 40-minute video on that. You can watch that if you'd like. It's called, the article as well as the video is called, it's just a video, because the video is embedded in the article. And I refer to the video in that article on how it all started, or how it all began for me as an occultist. It's 40 minutes long, so if you really want to watch it, knock yourself out. But I simply talk about how things literally started from me, from scratch, to where I am currently. Long story short, I'm unable to summon spirits via evocation. Evocation means that you make a spirit appear physically in front of you. But I'm unable to do so because I simply don't have that as a skill. That is not my skill, my God-given skill and talent. Okay, and my astrological natal chart, my birth chart, reflects that. My specialty that God has given me is to invoke spirits, to have their energy flow through me, and to have them manifest by having their energy flow through me, and therefore bring about results in terms of physical changes, physical, tangible changes. But when it comes to appearing physically, nah, that's not gonna fly. Not with me. And that's why I'm unable to evoke. And I remember back then, okay, it's the same deal. I tried everything. And again, this is an exclusion to divinations, okay? I also discussed this in another article called The Importance of Astrology and Tarot Card Readings in the Occult. That divinations, however, despite the fact that they're 99% accurate, 99% is still not 100%. It's still not a foolproof system. It's the best system by far compared to any other system, the systems that I use, even if I say so myself, but it's still not foolproof. Okay, and this is another exclusionary point. Okay, divinations are going to indicate, and my divinations also indicated that everything was going to go fine and that success was afoot and all of that. But again, divinations do not take into account what you naturally are not capable of doing. Okay, it doesn't take into account, it doesn't take God-given gifts into account. Okay, if I check via divinations what the reason is for something, this simply falls under a personal specific reason. If I take into account what the reason is for something not being able to work like I did back then, or not that I like I did, I had others do it for me. They told me too, the problem is, for example, I paid a spellcaster back then, and he told me the problem is a lack of fire. And that was kind of misleading, but it's okay. Later it dawned on me that with fire was meant spiritual fire, so a lack of willpower and energy. And I also remember that back then when I cast tarot cards, and despite the fact that I didn't even have an idea on what I was doing because I wasn't fluent in dealing with tarot cards, I got the Fool card, and God, how I hate that card. Because if you get the Fool card as an outcome, it simply means that you're banging your head against the wall. All of your effort, despite how hard you might work, is going to be for nothing. It was only after I became an astrologer is when I realized that I can't evoke, I can't summon spirits physically because I'm simply not meant to do that. My skill lies in working via the back door, to put it that way. Just as an example, as a metaphor, okay? God closed the front door for me, but he opened the back door. So I'm supposed to commit all of my dealings and all of my in and outs via the back door, not the front door. So it doesn't matter how hard I try, evocation is not going to work for me. That is it, and that's also the reason for why this doesn't work, because this, okay, after I made an analysis in my mind, okay, half an hour or something ago, I came to the conclusion that it's the same thing, which it is the same thing, because if I wanna manifest something physically, it's literally like summoning a spirit physically. Okay, if I want to manifest a pencil or anything, I want to manifest an apple, okay, as in boom, apple appear. It's not going to work, okay? Mental, astral, physical. Mages, magicians know this, but it's not going to work. For me, creating something, just thinking about something or willing something into existence astrally, from the mental to the astral, boom, I can do this literally in 5 seconds flat. If I had to create an egregore now, I could create an egregore in under 30 seconds, guaranteed, more or less. But physically, that's not going to work for me for the same reasons that I can evoke. So yeah, it's an elaborate, extensive, and complex procedure. But that's in any case the reason for why this project failed. But again, I have no regrets in working with Belphegor because he made me stronger, and this project was still worth the time and the effort. It didn't even take long. I mean, trying to win the lottery with Belial took me 7 months or half a year, and even then we came ridiculously close. And kudos to Belial again. But trying to manifest things or mastering manifesting things into physical existence with Belphegor, that took 2 months. And 2 months is short, okay? I'm used to heavy projects like these being longer or taking longer. But 2 months was 2 months is ridiculous. It's not ridiculously, but 2 months is pretty quick for such a working. And he did well, so no complaints. He did well, and everything went fine. Okay, but unfortunately, again, like I said, this didn't work. And the reason for it working is now clear to me as well as you guys, my followers and people that are watching this video. That's the reason for why it didn't work, okay? And I'm unable to manifest things physically in any case. It's a shame, but again, I can't say that I didn't try, and it was worth trying in any case. It was worth getting behind, and it was worth the effort and all the input that I have to make, all the effort and all of the hard work that I had to commit to. Okay, because I've become significantly stronger astrally out of it. Okay, I've created an egregore before, or egregores before in the past, thought forms, but right now, based on due to this working, I have grown so strong that I can create one, like I just said, in under a minute, under half a minute even. Whereas it used to be maybe like I had to strain myself for maybe 10 minutes. 15 minutes, half an hour at the longest to create an egregore. I had to focus my mind really on creating an egregore. But now I can literally just easily create something astrally on the astral plane without even trying. Okay, and yeah, it simply surprised me how lively that egregore was that I created. Okay, that blue shade disc. I mean, everything. I mean, just now the egregore destroyed herself because she told me that since we're mentally connected, she knows that I simply want her to undo herself. So she destroyed herself. She simply ceased to exist. And she told me that she can always reappear as long as I will it. As long as I will that to be the case, as long as I will her back into existence by simply thinking of her, then she'll appear again. But she knows that I want her to undo herself. So that's all. And yeah, it was really lively. Okay, and that's also when I thought, that I have little to no control, not no control, but I have little control over this egregore. I mean, when I was manifesting her, she was just like, I could control her, but I really had to strain myself. It's like trying to throw a lasso around a horse and trying to restrain that horse, to keep that horse in check. I mean, you should have seen her. At first it was the tiny blue light, and then all of a sudden she started talking. I was like, holy crap, I just created an egregore without even trying. And then she expanded, boom, into a disc. And then she started moving up and down, going like this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Sometimes even taking other colors. Aside from the fact that, despite the fact that that wasn't my command, I only had blue in mind, but at certain times she just turned into generic light. We're talking about light yellow. Sometimes she just turned into a light yellow spark, and then again turned into a light yellow orb, and then she went back to blue again. And it was a female voice. I mean, a calm, cool voice. It reminds me almost of a sprite, kind of like a nymph or a what are those tiny thingies called again? Those forest nymphs. That's what I mean. You know, those tiny forest nymphs that you see in Disney cartoons and so on. That's kind of like the voice that she had, or that it had, whatever. In any case, so yeah, I deem this working a failure. But in any case, the reason is clear. Okay, it's simply one of my exceptional cases, and in this case, it is reason number 4, I think. In any case, the reason is a private, personal reason, a specific personal reason. The same way that I list in that article regarding astrology and the occult and exceptional cases that divination doesn't take into account. For me, it's simply due to the fact that I can evoke, because this works within the same guidelines of an evocation, manifesting something physically. So it's not going to fly. But it was still an amazing, it was still a good experience, and I grew from it. And it was worth the time and the effort, which I had already said to myself beforehand. I told myself, worst case scenario, like in every other working of mine, is that it fails. The question is this worth my time and my energy? And the question is yes. The question is yes, it is worth my time and energy, and no problems. As for Belphegor, again, he does amazingly well. But Belphegor, like I mentioned in his initial article, appears as kind of like a monstrous being. Let's just say the realistic version of a stereotypical demon, if you will. But instead of being red, he's black, and he has no horns. He just looks like your realistic demon, a hideous creature with warts over his body, being completely black like charcoal, and he has a tail too, kind of like a pointy tail with an arrow pointy like tail. That's basically what Belphegor looks like, and he has that black sun hovering over his head, this Tajirion. Just think of a halo, but instead of a halo, think of an upright standing sun, but instead of a normal sun, it's a black sun, kind of like a black hole, a mini black hole. That's what Belphegor looks like, and that is it for this. That's it for this project. Now you guys know in any case, and that's all. Bye.